Good evening, my friends. How are you? Today we will talk about a very important topic, which is the problem of marital infidelity. This video is directed to every woman so that I can explain to her how psychology has been able to discover over many years how a wife can find herself falling into the trap of infidelity without realizing it. My goal in this video is to explain how this path begins and how it ends, and how this devil can make the idea beautiful in front of a woman until she finds herself falling into the trap. May God protect Muslim homes and protect all our daughters and women from any evil. There is a shocking truth that many men do not know about married women, and it is the secret that makes some of them more vulnerable to falling into a relationship outside of marriage. This is not because she has no morals or is weak, but because human nature is programmed to be attracted. No one wakes up suddenly and decides to betray or destroy what he has built. But this happens step by step, in small moments, words that seem innocent, looks a passing person, and a heartbeat faster, as soon as a message comes from someone other than the husband. Psychologists have studied this phenomenon for a long time and called it the slow erosion of boundaries. That is, the boundaries between right and wrong begin to disappear piece by piece until the woman reaches a stage where she does not recognize herself when she looks in the mirror. Okay, why is it easy for some married women to attract someone? And more importantly, how do they justify this to themselves? This is what we will know now. But before we begin with the reasons and explanations, do not forget to support the channel by subscribing and activating the bell to receive everything new. The channel's content always aims to provide deep analyses and different visions on sensitive and influential topics in our daily lives. Your support encourages us to continue and provide more purposeful content. Let's begin. The first reason with us is the emotional emptiness that is not talked about. Why do some married women begin to look for attention from outside the home? Marriage is basically a strong partnership that can withstand time and challenges. But the truth is that it doesn't always remain as intense as it was in the beginning. Some women, despite their promises to be faithful, find themselves attracted to other interests outside of marriage. This isn't always due to physical attraction. On the contrary, it's often a psychological motive. The mistake many people make is thinking that this woman wants to run away, while the truth is that she's looking for something that was there and was lost in the middle. People by nature look for connection, and women in particular have a deep need for emotional intimacy, not just physical presence. At the beginning of marriage, this intimacy is at its peak, with long conversations until dawn, looks that are filled with love and concern, and a feeling that she is seen and appreciated. But with time, routine replaces excitement, and deep talk turns into discussions about housework and expenses, and desire itself turns into a duty rather than a real feeling. According to the famous psychologist John Gottman, the silent killer of any relationship is not disagreements or problems, but indifference. When a woman starts to feel that her husband no longer cares about her or notices her, her subconscious mind starts to search without her noticing for flirting in other places. Humans, by nature, do anything to escape the feeling of intensity, even if this means that he loses himself in the middle. At this stage, the simplest things, such as a nice compliment or a deep talk with someone who is really interested in what she says, can be for her like a dose of oxygen after years of confinement. Marriage brings with it stability and responsibilities, but the problem with stability is that it sometimes kills the feeling of excitement. In psychology, this phenomenon is known as the Coolidge effect, which is that anything new or different stimulates the feeling of desire and excitement. If a woman has been married for years and her life has been in the same daily pattern, just a small spark from something new can make her feel that she has been electrocuted. This is not because she does not love her husband or because she has no morals, but because she lacks feelings. It is desired and chosen. True love is not just two people living together. Love is that they choose each other anew every day. The second reason for the justification game is that the mind always finds a way to justify what the heart feels. Betrayal, whether emotional or physical, never happens suddenly. It goes through a slow and gradual process, and every step in it is justified before it turns into reality. The feeling of guilt is heavy on the soul, and if a person was able to convince himself that what he is doing is not wrong, he would not feel this fragrance. At first, the matter seems innocent. We are only talking. It is just a simple interest. There is nothing wrong. However, the betrayer is very clever at deceiving himself. When a person feels pleasure but finds it conflicts with his values and principles, he begins to invent excuses to fill this gap. This phenomenon is known in psychology as cognitive dissonance, and here lies the danger. The more excuses there are, the greater the distance that can be cut. For many women, betrayal begins emotionally before it is physical. And this makes it more dangerous because in physical betrayal, the lines are clear, but in emotional betrayal, everything is gray and foggy. The matter begins with late-night messages, long, in-depth conversations, and sharing secrets and personal problems with a man other than her husband. With time, this emotional relationship can become stronger than the marriage itself. The third reason is the justification, I deserve this. And this is the most dangerous stage of justification because at this point, the woman no longer sees her behavior as a problem at all. On the contrary, she sees it as one of her rights. She says to herself, I sacrificed a lot for this marriage, so I have the right to feel happy again. Or, he ignored me for years, why did he care? Or, I was faithful all the time without finding anything in return. What is the benefit in this stage? The new relationship begins to seem more honest and stronger than her marriage itself. Her mind convinces her that crossing the line is not betrayal, but justice. When a woman is convinced of this, it is very difficult for anyone to stop her. The issue is not a lack of willpower or morals, but because the human mind is very good at justifying anything that brings it a sense of satisfaction. We often get used to what we do, and with time, what was forbidden at first becomes normal, and emotional separation from the husband remains stronger than any other bond. Even if no physical boundaries are crossed, her heart might be owned by someone else, and here there are only two choices. Either the story is revealed, or she decides to end the marriage in the end. Why do some married women become easier prey? It's not because they are planning to cheat, but because they are looking for something they lost. And as soon as they find it, it's very difficult to leave it. It's not because they don't love their husbands, but because they are convinced that what they found outside, they can never find inside their home. And when this idea becomes ingrained in their minds, going back becomes almost impossible. That's why the channel I'm talking to you from, and others, was created to help husbands and wives know how to bring back love and passion between them again. Many people attack the content that I and others provide and say that it is not appropriate for values or morals. But in reality, they do not realize that a simple word or piece of information can save an entire home from collapse and protect a family from being lost. If you found this content useful or it made you think differently, share it with your friends and family. It might help someone see things from a different angle. Write to us your opinions and experiences in the comments, because discussion and dialogue are the key to any deeper understanding of these topics. See you in the next video. Goodbye, my friends. I love you all.